Oh, my God.
Look at those shoes.
Look at these. All right, yeah, here you go. It's branding. It's funny that you brought up Beavis and Butthead, because back in the last century, in the gay 90s, when I wasn't recording voices for Beavis and Butthead, I was looking for sex. And, you know, in those days, before the hookup apps like Grindr and Scruff and OkCupid, you know, we're on those apps. You supposedly know what you're getting before you get it. You know, top, bottom, verse, yeah, right. Into kissing, nips, fisting, you know, water play, all this kind of stuff. And it can be more efficient, but I miss the days when you had to go out there and do the work on the ground. You had to meet people face to face, in a bar, on the street, in a park. So one sultry summer Saturday afternoon, I go out looking forward to my neighborhood on the Upper West Side of New York City, and I decided to start with a little daytime drinking. So I head into my gay bar around the corner from me, The Works, and I walk in, and in the darkness, I can see scattered about a few possibilities. But what do? I choose the one impossibility. i.e., he's super hot and out of my league. But I sit next to him at the bar anyway, and he looks like a pint-sized George Clooney, the way George Clooney looked in those days on ER. I'm old. But even better, he looked like my old friend from college, Chris. And Chris, he slept with everybody, except me. And not that I didn't have the opportunity. I did have the opportunity once, and I said, you know what, let's not do this. I don't want it to mess up our friendship. That was back when I still had scruples. And, you know, I was regretting it ever since. So anyway, I sit next to this guy, and I order a martini, and I look at him, and he looks at me, and he takes long, slow pulls off the neck of his Rolling Rock beer. And I give my martini a rim job. And he says, hey, and I say, hey, and he says, what are you up to? And I said, looking for sex. I've always found that the direct approach works the best. Now, even though in those days, in my youth, I was never hot, but I was, you know, a cutie pie, the funny sidekick, but I never went hungry, if you know what I mean, because I managed to close the deal by boldness, enthusiasm, willingness. I was like a cabaret performer who can't really sing, but manages to sell a song through sheer personality. So I tell him what I'm here for, and he says, oh, what are you into? And I said, well, you know, I kind of like to see where it goes in the moment and take it from there. And he said, well, what's your wildest fantasy? And I said, you know, I don't have any kind of like dream fantasy that I want to come true. I said, but you asked the question. I bet you've got one. Come on, what is it? And he said, okay, when I was in junior high, I had a huge crush on my best friend, Jimmy. But everyone called him Little Jimmy because his father was Big Jimmy. And one afternoon, I go over to his house, and I walk in the kitchen door like I always do, and his mother's there, and I say, oh, hi, is little Jimmy home? And she says, oh, yeah, he's up in his bedroom. Go on up. I said, yeah. And so I go on up the stairs, but something feels different. And I take the stairs slower than I normally do. And I say, yeah. And so while he's telling me this, his knee is pressing into my knee, but he's not looking at me. He's looking just past me. And his eyes are glazed over with the reverie of this memory. And he says, so I go up the stairs, and I reach the top of the stairs, and his door is shut. I said, yeah, but it's cracked open just a little bit. I said, uh-huh. And I push the door open, and there's little Jimmy. I said, what's he doing? Well, he's on his bed, and his bare butt's in the air, and his tighty-whitey Fruit of the Looms are bunched around his ankles, and he's humping the pillow. I said, yeah. And I just stood there for a few seconds, And then I said, "Little Jimmy." And little Jimmy slowly turned around, and he looked at me over his left shoulder, and his face was beet red with embarrassment. And he said, "Hey, buddy, you caught me." I said, "Yeah, you sure did." And then I walked over to his bed, and I was getting excited, if you know what I mean. I said, "Well, I'm getting pretty excited." I said, "Let me guess. You want to reenact this little scene?" He said, "Yeah, you up for it?" I said, "Yeah, I'm up for it." I said, "Let me guess. I'm little Jimmy, right?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Listen, you are in luck. I live just around the corner from here. And not only that, I live in a duplex apartment. The bedroom is upstairs, so the fantasy is going to be that much more authentic." I said, "Yeah, now give me about 5 minutes head start," and I gave him the address, and I downed my martini, and I was pumped on adrenaline. I ran faster than Jesse Owens to my apartment, and I live in a 5-floor walk-up, and I took those steps 2 at a time, and I get into my apartment, and then I go upstairs, and I unmake the bed, and I put the humping pillow in place, and then I go downstairs, and I wait next to the buzzer, and I wait, and I wait, and I'm like, he's putting me on. And then bang, the buzzer. I'm like, oh, thank God. I unlock the door, and I run upstairs, and I get on the bed, and I push down my shorts and my tighty-whities, which were not Fruit of the Loom, I'll have you know. They were Calvin Klein. And then I start humping the pillow. But I've never really been a pillow humper, so I kind of cheat, and I flip over on my back and get myself ready that way. And then I hear the door open, and I hear it close. So I flip back over and start humping the pillow. And then I hear him say hello to little Jimmy's mother. And then I hear him say, "Okay, I'll go on up." And as my head is going in and out towards the headboard, I'm thinking, wow, he really has this script down verbatim. And then I hear him coming up the stairs, one at a time, slowly. And with each step, I'm getting more excited. And then I hear him reach the top of the stairs, and he stands there for a few seconds. And then he says, "Little Jimmy." And I turn around and I slowly look over my left shoulder, just like I've been instructed. And my face is beet red, not from embarrassment, but from that martini and running up 5 flights of stairs. And I say, "Hey, buddy, you caught me." He says, "Yeah, I sure did." And he walks over to the bed, and I can see his shorts are tinting, and it looks very promising. And he gets up, just his knees up on the bed, and I pull at his shorts, and I pull down his tighty-whities, and out pops a beautiful kielbasa sausage. And I want to say, "Hold the bun, mustard on the side." And then I start to lunge for it, and then he stands up. And he puts on his tighty-whities and his shorts. And I said, "Wait, what are you doing?" He said, "That was it." I said, "That was it? That was it?" But I didn't say that, actually, because I was too stunned. I was speechless. He said, "Yeah, buddy, you did great." And I wanted to say, "Well, leave $100 on the dresser, because I feel like a whore. I feel used." But I didn't say that either. And then he left. And I am draped across the humping pillow like a deflated, unused condom. And I hear him go down the stairs, which he goes down a lot faster than when he ascended. And then I hear him open the door. And I hear him close the door. And he doesn't say goodbye to little Jimmy's mother, which I think is rude. And then it hits me. This isn't his first time doing this. This guy is in a rut. And I wonder how many other little Jimmys are out there. Victims, that is. And I want to find them and start a support group. And what about me? I wanted College Chris. I thought I was finally going to get College Chris. But I didn't tell him that. And I learned a very important and valuable lesson that afternoon. Never be afraid to ask for exactly what you want. Hey, it worked for him. Thank you.
Jamie Brickhouse, everyone.